Welcome to this short training video on clinical trial integrity and ethical responsibility. In this scenario, we'll look at a real-world example of how cutting corners in research can quickly turn into fraud, with serious legal, professional, and patient safety consequences. This story highlights how one investigator's decisions led to criminal conviction and permanent exclusion from the field, and, more importantly, how those choices could have put patients at risk. Dr. V is selected as a clinical investigator for a pediatric asthma drug trial.
As the sponsor, we are counting on you to run this study with precision and accuracy.
As the trial opens to participants, Dr. V realizes recruiting real patients takes time.
This enrollment is so slow. Maybe I can speed this up. No one would know. What if instead of establishing real participant visits, I use patient records to fabricate participants? That should work.
The fabricated participation used real patient identities to create the appearance that children had enrolled in a clinical trial, met eligibility requirements, attended study visits, received physical exams, and took the investigational drug, when many of these activities never occurred. These falsified records were submitted to the drug sponsor and research organizations, which believed they were receiving legitimate clinical trial data and paid the research site for patient enrollment, study visits, and data collection activities. The fraudulent scheme allowed the participants to receive payments for research activities that had not actually taken place. On March 19, 2021, Dr. V was convicted in federal court, after pleading guilty, of conspiracy to commit wire fraud related to the falsified clinical trial. The FDA notified Dr. V in November 2021 that it proposed to permanently debar her from working on any drug application-related activities. She was given an opportunity to request a hearing, but did not respond, thereby waiving her rights. On April 19, 2022, the FDA issued a permanent debarment order barring Dr. V from providing services in any capacity to entities involved in drug product applications due to her felony conviction linked to drug development activities. Why was this type of fraud considered severe? Because clinical trials are foundational evidence for drug approval, and regulators, such as the FDA, depend on accurate data to ensure safety. Fabricated data can 1. Lead to unsafe or ineffective drugs reaching patients. 2. Hide harmful side effects. 3. Undermine trust in the entire drug development system. The DOJ emphasized that manipulating clinical trial data poses serious threats to public health and safety. This training video is not only an illustration of paper fraud, but systematic fabrication of an entire clinical trial, from fake participants, visits, treatment, and data, all used to deceive sponsors and generate payments, ultimately leading to a federal fraud conviction and permanent FDA debarment. So now that we know what not to do, what would the right path be? 1. Use real participants. 2. Record accurate data. 3. Follow protocols and ethics. In other words, no shortcuts, no exceptions. This event highlights that though the clinical trial ended, the consequences did not. What seemed like shortcuts to save time and generate revenue ultimately resulted in criminal conviction, permanent FDA debarment, and the loss of professional credibility. Behind every clinical trial are patients, families, healthcare providers, and regulators who depend on accurate and reliable data. This case demonstrates that integrity in research is not just a regulatory requirement, it is essential to protecting public health and maintaining trust in the drug development process. Final takeaway. When it comes to clinical research, there are no acceptable shortcuts. Honest data protects patients, advances science, and safeguards careers. If interested in the references used to create this video, please pause to capture this information. This video was a collaboration between Laura and Katrina as part of a pre-conference PI bootcamp resource. Developed in partnership with SOCRA,